India and China haven't fired a bullet at each other in decades, but the situation at the border is precarious. It is being called an escalation of a scale that hasn't been seen since the 1962 war, and that too in the middle of a pandemic that was first reported in China. Xi Jinping said that the People's Liberation Army of China should step up its preparedness for armed combat in the middle of a pandemic. That is what the Chinese president is thinking about. What triggered this face-off and why this escalation suits China right now? First, let's bring you up to speed with the latest developments. Indian Army's Chief General M.M. Naravne today hosted a two-day meeting of senior army commanders. The conference is to discuss issues pertaining to the security of India's borders, including recent Chinese aggression in Ladakh. Yesterday, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting with the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, CDS General Bipin Rawat and the three service chiefs to discuss the India-China standoff. China, meanwhile, is in no mood for a dialogue. In fact, Beijing is blaming India. A report claims that high-level military officials from both sides met to defuse the situation. But no de-escalation yet. In fact, Beijing is blaming India. The focal point is the line of actual control. In the past couple of weeks, two places have emerged as border hotspots. One in Sikkim, the other is close to Ladakh. Right now, the focus is this area. It's called the Galwan Valley. Chinese troops have said they have moved in here, in the Galwan Valley. Now let's come to the second question, that is why now? The answer could be this: border infrastructure. India is ramping up its border infrastructure. Last year, India's Border Roads Organization, or the BRO, built a road. It's called the Shok DBO Road, or the DBO, where it stands for Daulat Beg Oldi. This road is on Indian territory and several points. It is at least 10 kilometers inside the line of actual control, which is also technically Indian territory, but China doesn't agree with this. The road runs perpendicular to the Galwan River. The road, in order to connect this road to the LAC, India was building feeder roads, and now this is what has worked up China. Now let's repeat a fact that all of this construction is well within Indian territory. India is stepping up infrastructure on its own side of the border, on its own land. The idea is to help Indian forces reach remote locations quickly. It saves them time and effort, allows them to keep Chinese military aggression under check, and that is why China is protesting, because its border transgressions are being challenged. Look at the hypocrisy. China has been building its way to glory along the border, but is protesting when India does the same on its side. India needs these border checks because China's expansionism knows no bounds. Take the case of the Galwan Valley itself. It was a flashpoint for the 1962 war. According to a report, China has changed its claims over this valley thrice in the past. It started with a small territory. Now Beijing says that the entire Galwan Valley belongs to China, something that the Global Times editorial also repeats. Global Times, a mouthpiece for the Chinese Communist Party. China has reportedly positioned 5,000 PLA troops along the line of actual control. Many of them are said to be in Indian territory. In the Galwan Valley, the PLA is said to have erected around 100 tents in the last 2 weeks. There is more. In an open source intelligence expert has captured some satellite images. This is the Ngari Gunsa Airport, 200 kilometers away from the Pangong Lake in Ladakh, the site of the skirmish between Indian and Chinese forces earlier this month. There are Chinese fighter jets now positioned on what looks like a runway. India is stepping up its own presence at the border. So this is where things stand right now. A large number of Chinese troops positioned at the border at multiple locations with assertive and aggressive commentary from China, Beijing seems to be fine with this unprecedented level of tension at the border. It is making territorial claims. That too at a time when the world is trying to control a virus that came from China.